In the last video, we spoke about very basics of what kind of activities we outsource and why is it important that our vendors are privacy compliant. We are handling our collected personal data. We are handling the personal data for which we have the consent, and we are handling it to a third party, so we need to be careful about it. In this video, we are going to talk about some of the best practices in handling vendors when it comes to data protection and privacy. Welcome to my YouTube channel where you daily see new content on data privacy. And as I said, let's talk about handling vendors or best practice vendors when it comes to data privacy and protection. So, what are the few of the precautions that you should take when you are onboarding a new vendor? Ensure that you know what are their policies and their practices. You might have to help them redesign their policies and practices depending on the severity and criticality of your data. Especially if you are a significant data fiduciary, and then if your vendors are not even compliant, it could become a huge challenge. So you need to help them get into the practices of things like privacy by design and see that each of their processes are thoroughly monitored, right? You should ask if they are already following some compliance. Data privacy is new. You still have some time to get compliant with privacy, though the damage to the reputation can happen anytime with or without the government laws coming in, but still we have some time to follow when it comes to compliance. So let's be clear about or see how are they already handling their data and see what compliances they meet, like for example ISO 27001 or any other ISO series. Check their IT practices. They would store data somewhere, right? So where are they storing it? What are the practices? What employees handle it? Do they even have a contract with their employees about the data usage? You should know that because you are handling personal data to them. And what retention and deletion practices they follow. These are some of the very critical aspects when you are evaluating or onboarding a new vendor. When you've already done that and you are signing contracts, you should include some of the very important things in the contracts. Of course, in the new contracts, as well as you should revisit any existing contract that you already have, and you should see that privacy things are already covered there. What are the data security parameters they are following and how they improve on them. Now, of course, the contract would not have hows and whens, but at least what are security parameters they are following, you should have it in contract. What kind of contracts do they sign with their employees or even their third-party vendors if they are using further another third party? Of course, that's not very good practice as to keep outsourcing to multiple people, but at least with their employees, because their employees are the ones who are actually going to read and write on that data. Are their facilities secure enough? Well, DPDP Act talks only of digital data, but even then you need to have secure facilities. It can't be that someone just walks into your data center and blows off your servers, right? So what kind of applications they are using and are they secure? And we talk of application security, we cover the things like encryption, anonymization, and role-based access, things that help us maintain the privacy for us. Is there a breach notification process? That would not be there already, but you need to help them form one with your expectations and build up as a part of their contract. And what is the kind of data deletion practices that they are following once the contract is over. Now, your signing up contract with your third parties should also be dependent on the fact as to what are the commitments that you have made to your data principals, either for that particular job and consent, plus what kind of commitments you make in general as an organization to anyone whose personal data is with you, right? For example, a payroll outstanding does not need to go to an external data principal, but when you hire someone, you tell them certain things about your organization and practices. So whatever commitment you have with them should be a part of your contract when you are outsourcing your payroll processing to a third party. Any penalties that you want to put in, well, that would really depend. Normal small vendors will not allow it, but the large ones, and if you are a significant data fiduciary, then you should have some responsibility and some payment penalties associated on non-compliance with your own vendors as well, right? And then when we come to how are you sure that you signed a contract? That's one part of it. But how do you know whether that contract is being honored with respect to these things? Not only with the top line service deliverability, but with respect to these things. Well, you should seek regular internal PIA reports, privacy impact assessment reports. You should look into their processes very regularly. You should help them redesign their processes, embed privacy by design concepts in their processes so that you get a better idea of what they are doing and privacy by design automatically helps you maintain privacy. Right? Revisit on these processes every time a process changes. Whenever you think you are recommitting, whenever you think you are collecting more data, whenever you think you are using data for a slightly different process. Even if that when I'm buying a new storage to store your data, so I'll be migrating data from one storage to another storage. Now this means that there is some activity happening to the personal data. So you should also monitor those processes and ensure that your personal data collected on your behalf is kept safe. You should regularly educate their employees on privacy norms. You should conduct regular privacy awareness workshops also. Marketing emailers to their employees, to their stakeholders is fine, but you should have your own privacy team, and your privacy team should go there and conduct privacy awareness workshop for them. And depending on what all you had included in your contract, depending on what all you have included in your contracts and privacy notices to the principals, prepare a checklist. Prepare a checklist so that you go to the vendor environment and check, okay, last PI report, this risk, storage working fine. Well, technically, is the storage code upgraded? Is the firewall safe? Are you buying new firewalls? Is this firewall 10-year-old and you have not even upgraded its code, right? So you need to get into the details, and those details can be very, very customized depending on the kind of environment and how you are using it with your customers also. What are you committing to your customers? And you should prepare a checklist and monitor them. Just giving an example, an IT company does upgrade their firmware and software at least once in a quarter. So that can help you think that you need to check at least once in a quarter whether they have upgraded it or not. Right? So that's about some of the best practices when you are handling your vendors for data protection or compliances. I hope you like the content of the video. Please press the bell and the like icon. Subscribe to my YouTube channel and share your feedback in the comment section. Thank you.